Boo. You won't believe this, but I actually got graped or essayed, both I think, by a very famous transgender advocate
I was 9.
known as Alexis Arquette. Trigger warning, but the following story, dissected into several parts, however this one is going to be the full one, the full clip, it's like 10 minutes, contains scenes that are very SA or grape oriented. So if you are triggered by something like that, then please keep scrolling. This is a 100% true eidetic memory oriented recollection of my pastime when again I was 9 years old. I recorded this a year ago on my old, very first TikTok account that is no longer with us. And this is a story that has taken me well over a decade to finally feeling comfortable to disclose to the public. But without further ado, here we go. Meaning every time I see that person's face, I get instantly taken back to the moment in which they molested me.
But this drag thing you're doing, tell me about Skippy, what?
If you don't know who Alexis Arquette is, he is the person that played Boy George in The Wedding Singer.
I have days.
Not this guy.
Sorry if I scared you. It's just bentonite clay and baking soda mask. But anyways, back to Alexis Arquette. Oh boy. This person keeps popping up in my feed, and rest in peace, but at the same time, him and I have history. Or her, I guess. But at the time, they were just cross-dressing or drag queening, so I think that they were still a identifiable male at the time. For any of those who wonder how I possess such a profound and vivid memory, it's called possessing eidetic memory, aka the total recall rare one. Meaning every time I see that person's face, I get instantly taken back to the moment in which they molested me. So without further ado, on with the show. I was about 9, 5th grade, and my mother had found the original owners of the house that Alexis Arquette had moved into dead, and took that as her listing, to which she sold the house to him or her. And they were really close, oddly enough. I didn't know him really. I just remember seeing a bunch of dudes dressed as girls or wearing wigs and stuff like that, doing a bunch of gay basically, up the road. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. All right. You know how, I don't know if they still do this, but they had these fundraisers in elementary school, middle school, whatever, where you get these prizes for the amount of like candies or whatever that you sell. And if you sell like the most, you get like the coolest prize and da-da-da-da. Well, I was trying to get the coolest prize, okay? And my mom said that I could go to the top of the hill, which at the top of the hill was the last house, which was Alexis Arquette's house. Having already been hypersexualized previously from a non-consensual situation that happened when I was 7, get to that some other day, but I was in the curiousness of what was going on at the top of the hill. Suffice to say, even though I was 9 years old, I'd already read an encyclopedia on sex, the same book that my mom hid. I read the whole damn thing. It was very graphic. So I was a wizard about sex.
You're a wizard.
So I knew there was a little bit of shenanigans going on up to the house at the top of the hill. And I used my excuse of going to go sell candies to all the neighbors to gather my curiosity. I knew all the terms: gay, straight, lesbian, Kama Sutra. Like, I mean, I read all of it. There was hentai in that book. I mean, I was down. Like, I was like, okay, let me just read this on the toilet. But anyways, having been a master of sex already at 9 years old, whatever, I proceeded to go up to the last house at the top of the hill. And lo and behold, I knock on the door, and there comes out Alexis, looking fabulous, to be honest. Smoking a cigarette. It's like, hey, I'm selling candies for my school at Grandview Elementary. Would you like to buy any? Pretty much. I was so nervous because I was so nervous to like talk to people, but I knew that this guy was a guy that I could kind of relate to. Excuse me one second. I'm trying to be a little productive while I tell a little bit of a story. But he, of course, agrees. And I don't know if he knew that I was my mom's kid. I don't think he did. Or she. You know, it's so hard to sometimes keep up with that. To be quite frank. But he let me inside. And he, of course, bought a couple of chocolates. I bluntly said, so you're gay, right? And he's like, excuse me? I'm like, he's like filling out the little checkbook thingy. And I'm like, you're gay, right? Like, when I walked into his place, okay, there was like, all right, it was like rainbow everywhere, candles, lollipops. And I was like, holy shit. He's like, what do you know about that? And I'm like, well, it's when two males do some stuff together or whatever. He's like, is that something you're curious about? Or like, what do you, like, he's like, come with me. So he takes me into this room. It's like one of his many bedrooms in this weirdly built house that had like a basement and a garage and like I don't know, it was fucking weird. All I remember about that house is that I would play in the backyard while the old owners would just be making porridge or oatmeal or something like that while I was catching bugs in their backyard. But anyways, he proceeds to put on an adult film called Power Tool, which was the first gay film that I'd ever seen in my entire life. Mind you, I'd already been spending out like oodles and oodles of money of pay-per-view porn, utilizing my TV that had like the VHS combo thingy so you can rewrite over like the cassette tapes. I was just trying to be efficient and kind of cost effective, or like, you know, save money in the sense that I just spent like $400 on paper to make repeat use out of it. So I like taped it over like Cinderella and like just Disney movies, and so it was already about sex anyway, so f it. But this was gay. They didn't have pay-per-view okay? And I was like, holy this is kind of hot. I like this a lot. Wow, can I watch more of this? I started getting an erection. Not sure if you know, but overfluoridation of the water does cause youth to engage in pubescent sort of era a little bit earlier. Like, actually a lot earlier. Girls are more ready to get pregnant at an earlier age, and so are men. They're fertile. Sorry, like talking about this kind of gets me a little shaky. So I'm like, I just kind of want to pace myself, want to walk around, whatever. I'm gonna go on so many tangents. I need to stop and stay focused. But anyways, he puts on this power tool and hard. He proceeds to put his mouth on my. Mind you, I'm trans. I've been transitioning for like 9 years.
10 years now.
On a need to know basis. But anyways, but I still got big. Anyways, yep, he just like sucks the load out of me. Let's just be blunt about it. Okay. I don't know what the is going on. I'm like, wow, I like this a lot. This is really interesting. What the like, and I'm so horny. And so he takes me down to his little garage basement thingy, and it was like a wrestling ring thing, and then there was like a sex swing, and he puts me in the sex swing and proceeds to attempt to penetrate me. He was so hung that honestly, like, it was not fitting. Just like the time when I was 7. So like, not with him, but with someone else. But anyways, I don't need anyone to say I'm sorry, for one. Like, I don't need anyone to be, I'm sorry that happened to you, because honestly, I turn my trauma into a kink, and I look at it as an amazing opportunity for growth and learning, and I don't hold any grudges or any hate or any animosity towards individuals that were not acting that in their adult ways, I suppose, you know. Because the 7-year-old incident was a lot more. This one, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, got what I asked for, essentially, which was confirmation that I was into, you know. Well, you don't know, but anyways, the most up thing about this is that not only is it showing up in my feed, like him for some reason, but it, I keep getting reminded of these flashbacks, and then I get reminded of the aftermath of what had happened. Brought to you by
Part to coming up. Thank you for your time.
Also, if no one has told you today, I love you.